What's up, everybody? Seth Floyd Show coming at you. We have some big updates with the 49ers, starting with Nick Sorensen Gonzo. He's out of there. Kind of like we thought, but we were a little worried that maybe he'd stick around. But before we get to that, I'm here to bring you my wildcard weekend picks. It's one of the best weekends of the year. I'm going to tell you which teams I think are going to be moving on to the divisional round. My wild card round picks. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year. I almost like the wild card round more than the divisional round. Not sure why. I love the idea of a 7 seed having the chance to beat a 2 seed and a 6 seed over a 3 seed. I love that concept. I don't know why. Last year we saw it with the Packers and the Cowboys. It makes for good TV. I think it's fun. So here are my picks real quick before we talk 49ers news. I'll go in order of the games being played. Number 1, Chargers-Texans. I'm a Chargers sub fan. I love Jim Harbaugh. I love that defense. The Texans feel like they've been limping along all year and they got bailed out by playing in a really easy division. I'm going the Chargers over the Texans. Let's say it'd probably be close. I think both teams play well. Let's say 20-17. Second game, the nightcap. That's what I'm trying to say. We got the Ravens and the Steelers. Man, do the Steelers look lifeless. They look terrible. I don't know if it's Russell Wilson. I think nobody's playing all that great. I'm not going to act like I've watched every Steelers snap over the last 5 weeks, but I know they've lost 4 in a row, I think. And so, man, tough. It's a tough look. This is the worst time to be playing your worst football. So I'm taking the Ravens. I'm not a big Lamar Jackson believer in the playoffs, though he's made me more of a believer this year. I think he deserves to be the MVP. Again, it would be his 3rd. Incredible. But until he actually does in the playoffs, I'm always going to be a little hesitant. But he's going to get it done over the Steelers. Golly, it's going to be 28-13. That's my guess. Sunday morning. This is a good, sneaky good game. It's fun seeing rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs, and we have 2 of them this year. I love the Bills I like the Chargers. I just really like both those teams. I love Josh Allen. It's a great story with Sean Payton, Bo Nix. That's a great story. But, man, Bills at home, I'm riding with the Bills. I'm going to ride with the Bills. Both are cold weather teams, in theory, whatever that means. I've seen the Bills lose cold weather games. But I think this is Josh Allen's year. And I think he's going to get it done. So, great story. Bo Nix, Broncos, you have a ton to build off of. But I just think the Bills are hot, and it's going to be the Bills. It's going to be I don't want to be disrespectful. 35-17 is what I'm going to say. 35-17 Bills. Eagles and Packers. Okay, it sounds like Jalen Hurts is going to play. I think there was a report today that he finally was cleared concussion protocol. And I think this is a terrible draw for the Packers. I think for the Eagles. I think if you were the Eagles, you would have much rather have seen the Commanders be in that 7 spot, not the Packers, simply because the Packers offense is so explosive. The Commanders have I thought they were pretty fraudulent for a while, and then they beat the Eagles without Jalen Hurts, but they still beat them. I don't know. They've had a couple decent wins, so I feel maybe they're not as fraudulent as I thought. But the Packers are so explosive on offense. Now, Jordan Love's going to play. Christian Watson's not, but Matt LaFleur is as good of a play caller as any of them. So if I'm the Eagles, if I'm an Eagle fan, I'm nervous. You do not want to see the Packers in this situation. You don't. However, Jalen's going to play. Saquon is just a man amongst boys right now. They have started to click, and they're at home. So I'm going to take the Eagles. But if they lose, I won't be surprised. And if they lose, it's because of this. Jalen has not played in 3 weeks now, I think. 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. Is Jalen going to be rusty? I'm down on Jalen anyway. I don't think he's the best quarterback. I think he was super overhyped for a while. I'm in on Jalen as a leader, as a human being, as a teammate, his heart, but just as a pure quarterback, I don't know. If the Packers can find a way to slow down Saquon, then it could go the Packers' way. But I don't think they will. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm going to take them. I didn't write down the scores. I'm going to say 24-21. I think it's going to be a good game. Okay, but I'm going to take the Eagles. Excuse me, Sunday night, we've got the Commanders of the Buccaneers. This is a good game. These are probably the 2 Nah, probably not. They're the most evenly matched teams, I feel like, in the wild card round. Bucks are so hot and cold. Sometimes the Bucks, Baker Mayfield just looks like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And then sometimes they look like they're losing 10 points to the Saints at home when they have to win to get in. I know they went on to win that game, but man, do they look hot and cold sometimes. They lost to the 49ers. I know they didn't have Mike Evans that day, but they're hot and cold. They're hot and cold. So which team's going to show up? I don't know. And the Commanders, great story, rookie quarterback, like everything you could want if you're a Commanders fan. Like they have exceeded expectations. Everything is icing on the cake at this point. That being said, I'm going to go Bucks over Commanders. Bucks won it last year. Bucks won a playoff game last year. There's a lot of guys on this team with the Super Bowl pedigree, including their coach. Baker doesn't have a Super Bowl, but he won a playoff game last year. So anyway, I'm riding with the Bucks in this game. Okay, and then lastly, this is probably the most exciting game. I'm hate watching this game. I was asked today at work which game am I looking forward to the most, and it's the Vikings and the Rams, simply because I need the Rams to lose for my pride. The 49ers didn't make the playoffs. And I don't think the Rams have played good football in 3 or 4 weeks now. They're limping along. Now you're going to get you're going to see the best Rams game you've seen in a month. Okay, what you've seen these last handful of weeks. I'm not including the Seattle game. I get it, Rams fans, if you're in here right now. That's what I'm talking about. Like close game against Cardinals, close game against the Niners. I understand it was raining, but you guys piss on the Niners like they're terrible, but it was like a close game. And if they don't drop 3 Matthew Stafford interceptions, like there's a good chance that goes in the Niners' favor. That's all I'm saying. You guys haven't looked great. Didn't look great against the Jets. Like you haven't looked great. That's an objective fact. Okay, you're lying to yourself if you think you're like getting hot at the right time. Now it's McVay, it's Matthew Stafford, but Cooper Kupp is like a non-factor right now. Kyren Williams is good, but if you can stop Kyren Williams on the ground, it just becomes the Puka Nacua show, which is a lot easier to defend when Cooper Kupp isn't doing his thing and you're not having much success in the ground game. And I don't always trust Matthew Stafford. Again, like the last Rams game I intensely watched was that 49ers game on Thursday night. And in the first half, he threw 3 balls right to 49ers defenders and they dropped them all. So like, it makes me hesitate. Vikings, on the other hand, I know Sam Darnold looked terrible against the Lions. But they're 14-3 for a reason, in my opinion. And the biggest reason is their defense is so smothering. And they have Justin Jefferson. They have a strong run game. Rams fans, if you can get Sam Darnold to do what he did against the Lions, if you can confuse him and make him see ghosts, then you'll probably win the game. I just think they're going to look at that film. Kevin O'Connell's as good of a coach in this league. The only coach I might take over him is Andy Reid. Everybody else, you could talk me into Kevin O'Connell. So I'm sure they watched that game against the Lions, and they're going to have a game plan ready to go. And I think that defense is just going to be so smothering. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. I know you beat the Vikings earlier in the year, and credit where credit is due. That was on a short week on the road for the Vikings. I think they're coming out for blood, and I think that defense is going to be swarming. So I'm taking the Vikings. All that to say, taking on the Vikings. So those are my picks. Let me know. I didn't put it. I don't think I picked a score for Bucks and Commanders. The Bucks are going to beat the Commanders. Ooh, I think Baker's going to get hot. I think he's going to get hot. So let's say 38-28, high-scoring game. And then Vikings-Rams, oh, man. It's going to be an offense. I think the Rams' offense is going to be pretty halted. So let's go. Vikings are going to win the game. It'll probably be a low-scoring game. So let's say 21-13 Vikings. That's not the lowest scoring game. 21-13 Vikings. Okay? All right. Nick Sorensen is finally gone. He's gone. Finally! I shouldn't say finally. He was only there 1 season. He's not off the staff. And actually, I don't think I love this. They're thinking about making him special teams coordinator. What? At least he's going to have the opportunity to. He was special teams coordinator in Jacksonville for a year in like 2021. And it wasn't good. Jacksonville was not a good special teams unit that year. So I don't know. That wears me out if he goes that route. I don't know why he wouldn't just go get some high-profile special teams coordinator. Go to college. Someone brought up the other day, the Notre Dame special teams is good every year because of, I don't know his name. But they were like, why don't you just pay him a premium and try to lure him out and just let him do his thing? That's what Kyle Shanahan needs to do instead of just giving young bucks a chance. I don't know if he's been giving young bucks a chance. I just said that. But I don't know. Do something. Find somebody with a proven track record and make it happen. Regardless, he's out as DC. There's a report that came out from Josina Anderson that the 49ers are planning on, they're going to offer the job to Robert Saleh, or they already have, I don't know. And that Robert Saleh, like he's got an interview to become a head coach. He has an interview with the Jaguars. I think there was another team that was going to like maybe give him a shot, the Bears. I can't see him being a head coach. There's a good handful of names in this cycle. I know it's the Jets, and maybe you just completely blame the Jets, but if I'm an owner, I'm like looking for other options and just like, man, I understand it's the Jets, but I do not want to take the risk. This guy did not have success as a head coach and is just the stint he just got done with, so I don't think I can take that risk right then. But who knows? Maybe he will. But if he doesn't, get offered the job, Josina Anderson is saying the 49ers will offer him the DC job. As they should. The best defense I've ever seen from the 49ers, I think, would be that 2019 unit. Now, the roster in 2019 on the defense side of the ball was better than it is what Robert Saleh would inherit now, but there are some really dang good pieces on this roster. Okay, they need to add one or two pieces on the defensive line still, and they'll be rocking and rolling. Hopefully, they can bring Dre Greenlaw back. I know that the video of Dre Greenlaw, his wife or his girlfriend, whoever it was, the social media, that's blowing up. I'm not putting too much stock into it. I'm really not. I know Ayuk put out a bunch of stuff when he was going through his drama and everyone's freaking out, and then look what happened. So I'm going to try to keep it under wraps. I'm going to try to chill. This is a little different, though. She put out that message of, final party before free agency, whatever. But they probably all the guys, none of them, most of them don't live in Santa Clara full time. So all these guys, before they go home for the off season, like they hang out and throw a party. And Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw and his family and their girls, like they do that because they leave for the off season. So this was, I think the point they were making is like, we don't know if he'll be back because he's going to hit free agency. It sounds like they've probably Greenlaw's probably given the team a number, says you got to hit this because this is what I think I'll get on the open market. And John Lynch is like, okay, well, we got some work to do. We got to figure out if we can make that happen or not. And so no one really knows. And Lynch and Shanny even said that today in their presser, so I'm trying not to freak out. But if you get Greenlaw back, Warner, you still have Bosa, you've got Diamador Lenore, you've got Renardo Green on the other side, who's been a baller. You've got Malik Mustafa, who's killing it at safety. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Talanoa Hufanga. They probably got to address the other safety position because I don't think Tig Brown is the answer. Regardless, you have some good pieces. You have some really good, solid pieces on that defense that I imagine Robert Saleh could get the most out of, okay? There was a report later that came out today, a few hours later, and this was like an anonymous report. It was one of those, 49ers News and 24/7. You've probably seen it on Twitter or on Instagram. I don't know how plugged in that person is, but they report stuff all the time and people treat it like it's legit. Said that not only will the Niners offer that job to Saleh, but if Saleh does not get the job and he gets offered the 49ers job, he is very interested in coming back to be the Niners defensive coordinator, which I don't know why you wouldn't be. If you're going to be a defensive coordinator again, why not go back to Kyle, his system, the 49ers, and try to finish what you started with a couple of the key pieces you were there with. Fred Warner was on the team. Bosa was on the team before. Like, those are key pieces, guys that you bring them back and you guys could try to finish this thing. And I guarantee you, Robert Saleh, if you're watching, hope you are, by the way, that would be awesome. If you win a Super Bowl with the 49ers, you're getting head coaching jobs after that. I promise. But we need you. We need you. The point is, bring me Robert Saleh. Bring him to me. Bring him to the 49ers. Make him the defensive coordinator again, please. I need it. After this season that we just had, I need to get the band back together again. The same with Rand Carthon. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. But the dude who was fired in Tennessee, he was the GM, went to Tennessee, he was like the assistant GM or head of personnel with us, became the GM in Tennessee, got fired. Now he's a free agent. Like, I would love, if he doesn't get a GM job, love to bring him back because he was a part of that group that built this roster. I think he would be great. Bring it back. Get the band back together. Please, get DeForest Buckner back somehow. Okay, Sherm, come back and hang out on the sidelines at least. You probably can't play anymore. But man, oh man, let's get the band back together. Let's get these 2019 vibes back. We need it. Jimmy G, you stay your butt away. I don't want you back. You ain't invited. But everyone else, okay? Everyone else, let's do this thing, okay? If it's not Robert Saleh, it's going to be Jeff Ulbrich. That's my official prediction, Jeff Ulbrich. Okay, they wanted Jeff Ulbrich this offseason, it sounded like. I talked about this in my last video. Jeff is like a Bay Area native. He played for the 49ers. Like, he has roots there. He's publicly said in recent off seasons how much he respects Kyle Shanahan. So I think that would be a good add. A couple other names to watch. I think it'll be Jeff Ulbrich. If it's not him, another one would be Matt Eberflus. Again, I have people in my inner circle that I talk football with that they don't understand, or they just are willingly being ignorant about this. If you were a good coordinator and then you went on to be a bad head coach, it does not automatically mean you're going to be a terrible coordinator again. In fact, I would say the opposite, okay? I would say the opposite, okay? So Eberflus was not a very good head coach, but he was a really good defensive coordinator with the Colts, and the Bears' defense was pretty stout with Eberflus. I imagine he would come in and be a very strong defense coordinator. I say Eberflus because when Kyle Shanahan first got hired in 2017, he tried to take Eberflus away from the Cowboys, and the Cowboys blocked the request because it wasn't technically a promotion, so they could block it, and they did. So Eberflus, I think, is probably on Kyle's radar, and I don't think it's the end of the world. Proven defensive coordinator. Being a defensive coordinator is much different than being a head coach. All you have to do is focus on the X's and O's, less about culture and all the other logistics. I think it would be okay. Wouldn't be my first pick, but I think it'd be okay. Don't freak out about the Brandon Staley. Like, they're going to give him an interview. Brandon Staley, to me, is he's on the staff. He's under contract. So to me, Brandon Staley is in Kyle Shanahan's back pocket, and he's like, look, if we strike out on Saleh, if we strike out on Jeff Ulbrich, if we strike out on Eberflus, if we strike out on Lou, I can't even say his last name. Sorry, can't say his name. The defensive coordinator for Cincinnati just got let go, who I think could be all right. I think he got screwed because they had such bad defensive personnel. I think he could be okay. I think Kyle's thinking, if I strike out on all of those guys, then I've got Brandon Staley in my back pocket. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Brandon Staley is in the same boat. I don't necessarily want to give him the job. I don't. He'd be like my fourth pick. But just what I was talking about. Guys, Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator for the Rams was really good. Now, maybe their personnel was just really good, fine, but they were really good. There's a reason he got the head coach job. Now, he was terrible at being a head coach. Game management was the worst of all time. But when he just had to focus on being a defense coordinator, he was really good. He was really good. So I think you're fair to give him the benefit of the doubt to at least, like, if he gets put in that position, like, hope for the best. It's different than him being a head coach. Regardless, I don't think it'll be him. I think it's Saleh. If it's not Saleh, I think it's Ulbrich, because I'm sure Ulbrich is like, look, if I don't get the job with the Jets, which he's not going to, then his first option is probably the Niners to be the defensive coordinator, because he's from here. They have a good roster, a lot of chance to succeed. Kyle has routinely given defense coordinators good opportunities to go on and succeed. So anyway, my guess is Saleh. If not Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, and it ends there. That would be my guess, but I want Saleh. I want Saleh. And that's what I got. Man, crazy times, man. Crazy times. I hope this season ends fast. I hope the playoffs are exciting. Okay, I hope for good. I hope every game goes to overtime. I hope it's all fantastic. And then I hope I go to sleep and I wake up and the draft is here. That's what I want. Actually, I hope I go to sleep and wake up and Brock Purdy has signed his new contract. That would be great. That's what I want. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Okay, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It's absolutely free, guys. One click, you can forget about it, but it does a lot for me. Like the video. Comment who you want to be the DC. Tell me who you think's going to win this weekend. Okay, and that's all I got. Go Niners.